What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Thank you guys so much for being here. You guys know I love you so much. You guys are killing it. All right, so I just checked my numbers on. I think I'm about 35,000 downloads this month. Super stoked that you are with me. All of you are super engaging as well. I get so many comments and so many DMs and emails and all that great stuff. So you know I bring on people here that are like the best humans on the planet to come grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So today I found Alison Bladh, and she's a registered nutritional therapist and beauty therapist, and she works basically in health and wellness industry for over 30 years, specializing in menopausal women health. You know your girl right now is going through this, so this is a good conversation, Alison. Good conversation. And she now runs her own online clinic, helping women worldwide manage the negative symptoms of menopause. And she supports time poor, I love this, busy midlife women who are stressed, depressed, have gained weight, and have lost their confidence, amongst other things. Now, a lot of you guys know, and I know that a lot of my audience is women. They are women. And I was at a podcast recently called Midlife Moxie, which is the same thing. It's talking about midlife and what that all means, right? And it's now through my midlife that I've realized what my mom was going through with the hot flashes and and the swings in temperament, all of that great stuff. So Alison, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Oh, thank you for that lovely introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for having me on and letting me talk about such an important subject that really needs to be spoken about a lot more.
I agree with that. I agree. So let's get into that conversation. So before we get started, I know I gave a little bit about you, but I want to know more about you. And I know that my audience really likes to know about, the guest and who they are and all that great stuff. So tell us a little bit more about Alison.
Okay, I am actually British, which you can probably tell by
just a little bit.
But I live at the moment. I'm living in the outset. I live in Sweden. I'm living in Stockholm in Sweden. But my clients are international. I work worldwide with clients in Sweden as well. I am a registered nutritional therapist. I'm extremely passionate about women's health, midlife health, because I feel it is an area that is neglected, especially menopausal health. And I started my career journey as an esthetician. And I very soon came into working with women's skin during perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause, because there's different phases of menopause. And really immediately realizing that these poor women were getting no help and no support. It was kind of an area that was a bit unknown, and people don't like to talk about the menopause. So these ladies that were having problems with their skin, whether it's acne or pigmentation, sensitive skin, etc., I really focused on helping them. And then what happened very quickly was that I realized that you can't, it's not just from the outside. You really need to treat these things from the inside as well. So that's when I went back to university and studied to be a nutritional therapist. And I've been so passionate as well because I saw so many of my female family members as I was growing up, and friends of theirs that really suffered through menopause. And I don't know what it's like in the US, but in Europe it's starting to there's a bit of a menopause revolution going on. But when I was growing up, when I was younger, no one spoke about it. It was a bit of a taboo subject, brush it under the carpet. So that made me even more determined to learn as much as possible and really support women through this time in their life, because it is a totally natural process. It's not a disease, but things happen and we need a little bit of extra support. So that's really what drives me forward, just helping one woman at a time. If I can help one woman every day to feel better and live a fuller life, then that makes me really happy. And I also go ahead. In my own life, to know about me, I'm quite adventurous. I always like to push myself, so I do a lot of scuba diving. I like hiking and climbing, and doing things that push you out of your comfort zone, because I think that's quite. And I'm also a beekeeper, got bees in the back garden.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm a chef by trade, and I run this a department. I'm a director of this culinary operation. It's amazing space out here in Connecticut in the US. And we have bees too. We have a couple of hives that we have. And it is a phenomenal thing to learn about bees and the way they work, and how without them we would die. Like, it's just an amazing thing. So I admire you for that. It's awesome. And then the scuba diving thing, my husband was a diver, not I, but because I was always afraid of water, but it's something I've wanted to conquer. So that's really cool. I love that. I love that about you. You are adventurous. That's so cool.
I try to be. I scare myself to death sometimes, but it's all good fun in the long run.
Yeah. So talk to me about yourself. Like, did you yourself go through the menopause process? Have you even gone there yet? And what was that for you? Right? Because I know that many women go through this in difference. Everybody has a different stage or a different way they go through it. Like, I've spoken to some women, because I just turned 50 and I'm going through it as well. I'm a perimenopausal, right? So that's the beginning stages, right? Perimenopausal. Yeah. So I'm in the beginning stages. I'm getting a lot of hot flashes now, things like that. And I've spoken to women who didn't get anything. They were completely fine. And then I've spoken to women who have had it for 11 years. Like, oh my God. So I'm like, please, Lord, do not give it to me for 11 years. So talk to me about that a little bit on a personal level for you, Alison. How was that,
Sure, it's exactly as you say, that there's perimenopause, which is the first stage, and then menopause, and then postmenopause. And I'm actually at the moment in perimenopause, and perimenopause, it is very individual, as you said, and on average it starts at 45, but you can start perimenopause at 40, and then you go. Menopause is roughly around the age of 51. And then all the years after that, you're in postmenopause. But myself, it kind of crept up on me gradually. And, I'm a menopausal expert. But even then, I think it's fascinating that, because of life stresses, a lot of the time when we're in midlife, midlife women, we're maybe at the top of our career. We've got children at home. We've maybe got parents that are becoming older that need more care. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of stress. So all those kind of symptoms that maybe symptoms of being overwhelmed or stressed are very perimenopause. So I kind of steamed on thinking, oh no, this can't be perimenopause. But it was. And the things for me that I really noticed, because it is very individual, is brain fog and lack of concentration. And just in the middle of a conversation, just thinking, what was I talking about? I can't remember.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was getting concerned, because it was happening to me too, mid-sentence. And I'm like, okay, I'm concerned now. Maybe I'm getting like early onset Alzheimer's or something.
There's a lot of women worry about that. And, rightly so. It's not nice, is it, to suddenly forget what you're talking about. And hot flushes, I've touched wood. I've had the odd few, but that I haven't experienced so bad yet. But mood swings and irritability, I am normally a very calm, quite level-headed person, but I find myself getting irritated over really minor things that are ridiculous. Like my poor husband, if he's drinking a cup of tea, I'll want to go over and just shout at him.
That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah, it's terrible, those mood swings, and really, feeling, oh, what am I doing? What have I done with my life? And, what am I going to, it's ridiculous, but it's all the hormonal process. When you understand how important estrogen and progesterone and testosterone are for your body, these things are a process that happen as the menopausal symptoms kick in, really.
Yeah, and it's and the reason I'm really happy that you're here too, because you are absolutely right that it is not spoken about as much as it should be. And I remember when my mom and stuff was going through it, I was joking at first, but the truth is she did it quietly. she suffered through it quietly, right? Like nobody talked about it. They really didn't. And you're right. It was almost like the stigma, like, oh, she must be on her period. Oh, she must have, menopause. Like, it was always this like backward joke about what women are going through, right? But when you're going through it, you realize this is actually not funny. Like I am forgetting a lot of things. I am irritated a lot. It doesn't feel good. You're trying to lose weight and you can't lose it. Like, it's all these like different, or then you have cravings, or like there's just a lot of things going on in a woman's life. And it's okay to talk about it. And it's also okay to seek someone to help you with that, right? And that's why I wanted you here, Alison, because I know I have a lot of women that listen to this show. So women, listen up, because I know that you guys are always supporting each other. And I know that a lot of you are going through this right now. So Alison, what I wanted to ask you is, how do we start, right? Like, what like are some of the things, maybe you can give us a tip or two on what it is we can do as women who are starting to go through this process, or maybe right in the thick of it, right? To maybe help manage it a little bit better. I don't know if there's blood work you should be doing, or nutritional aspect of this we should be doing. So maybe you can give us a couple little tips on that.
Yeah, but sure. There is one thing that I have to say is, it is a totally natural process that everyone will go through, but you don't have to suffer. It's the natural process, but suffering is not natural. So
right.
Because some women really, really struggle. It's a very different experience for everybody. You should not feel like that. You need, get support, get help. And, it's kind of like fitting the puzzle together, because you really need, it comes from nutrition, it comes from lifestyle, mindset. It's really putting all those things together. So when I'm talking about nutrition, it's really, you just have to look after yourself a little bit more. Think about in studies, one of the diets that always comes out top for overall health and for menopausal health is the Mediterranean style diet. And that, what does that mean? People think, well, I don't live in the Mediterranean, how can I eat that? But it's not. It's really the name, and it's where you don't eat processed, refined, sugary foods. They're not good, and they've been shown to cause hot flashes, interfere with sleep, mood swings. It's just,
makes sense.
There's so many things that happen when you eat those really refined, sugary foods. So whole foods, eat foods in balance. Your lovely healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts and seeds. Fish, chicken. On a Mediterranean style diet, they eat not so much red meat. They eat red meat, but occasionally it's more white meat and fish, and legumes, all your beans and peas, etc. And then protein is something that women in general don't eat enough of, and that is really crucial all the time. But it's even more crucial when you come into menopause, because you really have to think of bone health. Our bone health, when our estrogen levels drop, our bone density can drop, and you can find as you get older, if you fall over, you may hurt yourself or get a fracture that you wouldn't have when you were younger. So eating foods that really for bone health are really crucial, like your green leafy vegetables, calcium rich foods like soya, salmon, all those things. So it's really, I could talk about nutrition for hours.
That's good, though. At the end of the day, a lot of it, in our life really is all about nutrition, isn't it? I mean, like just your enhancing your mind, enhancing your stability, enhancing your vision. Like everything really comes back to nutrition.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be difficult. I think so many people are put off by, I haven't got hours to spend in the kitchen. But, the majority of clients that I work with are overwhelmed and stressed. So they want really easy solutions. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I try to batch cook. So you've got healthy food in the fridge that you can eat all week when you're busy. Just, buying fresh vegetables and salads, and, buy a chicken. You don't have to buy chicken that's in a package with like 20 different ingredients. Just buy a whole. It doesn't, And I know, I mean, it's the same all over the world now with the processed food, and you know that our food environment is wherever you go. If you're just going shopping, you know, not to buy a food item, if you're going to a DIY shop, there's food there, isn't there? As you're checking out, it's full of
Right.
snacks, sweets. So it's quite toxic, the food environment. You have to be very, you know, you just have to be quite determined and think, no, I'm not going to eat those sort of things because I want to feel good. I'm going to eat whole foods.
Right. I mean, that's really true. And I think it's set up against us, right? The food industry is set up against us. So you have to be somebody who is determined. You really have to be determined to say, I want to feel better. I want to be healthy. I matter. I'm important, right? Because a lot of times it's also like you said earlier, it's also a mindset thing, right? It's also a thing where you say to yourself, I'm worth taking care of myself. I'm worth eating better. I'm worth going for a walk today. And that also comes back to that mindset, that emotional and mindset piece, right? Which I feel, does have a lot to do with how you're going to manage this menopause state of your life. Some of it you can't. I mean, maybe you can. Maybe you can help me with this. I feel like some of it you can't control. Maybe like the hot flashes, right? I feel like that one's a little bit tough. I don't know if you have tricks to that, but that just seems like something. And I know you said the nutrition will help. But do you think there's anything that helps women besides medication? Because they're always trying to throw something at you to take, right? Is there something that can help you manage those, like, let's say, sweats and hot flashes and the sleepless nights, things like that?
It goes back as well, and this is evidence-based from research that, if you eat a diet that's very high in processed sugary foods, then you tend to have worse experiences of hot flashes and problems sleeping. In general, eating a whole-based food diet helps with hot flashes, but things like alcohol does not work well if you're suffering from hot flashes, and that also affects your sleep. Caffeine drinks, there's so many different, isn't just coffee. A lot of fizzy drinks contain high amounts of caffeine. Caffeine must be hidden in certain foods, so really being aware of caffeine, because again that can help with hot flashes or help promote them. And spicy foods is a tricky one, because there's not really so much evidence based to say that if you eat spicy foods, it can trigger hot flashes. But from my experience working with clients, it's quite individual. So I think if you know yourself when you eat spicy foods that you get hot flashes, then maybe you should, just not eat them for a while, and just maybe not eat as regularly. And then, of course, you've got hormone replacement therapy, which, that is a medical thing, and you would need to go to a doctor for that. But, there is research to back up that can, if it suits you and, you want to go down that route, that can help with hot flashes and menopausal symptoms in general.
So why don't you take us a little bit through what you do with your clients? I know, like I said, I have a lot of women that listen, so they might listen to somebody like, oh my gosh, I need to work with Alison, right? What does that look like, Alison, if somebody is reaching out to you and wants to work on this?
Okay, I work on a one-to-one basis with my clients, so it's very individually tailored, which everyone's needs are different. So what would happen initially, we would have a chat to just see what you need and what your goals are. And then if you wanted to work with me, we would then go forward and do a health analysis, where really I look at everything. I work with the functional medicine model of health, where it's kind of like you peel the onions back. You really, really look at what's going on in the body, and not just a symptom. I want to know, for example, if you're getting migraines, why are you getting migraines? I'm not just going to say, oh, do this. I want to know why that's happening. So, and that's why functional medicine is such a wonderful way to work. So we really do a very in-depth consultation. And then I have like a signature program that we would work with, that would be individually tailored to that person's needs, because everyone's got different goals. Whether it's that you want to lose weight, or you're just feeling exhausted, or you've got digestive issues, or whatever it is, we focus on your goals. And then we have support calls once a week. I normally work with my clients on a 3-month basis, but I've had clients that I've worked with for years. So it depends on what the problem is and how long it takes to, correct that issue. We have support calls every week because, it's all very well saying to somebody, let's do this, let's work together and let's improve your health. But it's quite difficult to put new habits in place. That's the hard thing. It's knowing what you should do is the easy thing, but actually doing it is a different matter, really. So giving you lots of support every week with a phone call, and then you can contact me via email if there's any other things that you want. So it's a nutritional program tailored to you that we alter as well as we go through the program, depending on how it's working. I also can do testing, supplementation recommendation if it's needed. But the sort of testing, again, is very individual, depending on what, if it's gut issues, we might do a stool test. If it's hormonal issues, you can do thyroid testing, etc. It's very, very individual. And then I always like food first before we go down the supplementation route, because it's not worth taking loads of supplements just because you read somewhere that was good for that. You really need to understand what's going on before you start taking supplements. And if you're eating a healthy diet and your body's absorbing these nutrients correctly, then you shouldn't really need supplements.
Right. Wow, that's so good. I love that. And I love the holistic approach. It's something that I preach about all the time. When I was very ill for a long time, I went to like 4 or 5 conventional doctors and specialists, and they couldn't find anything wrong, even though I knew something was seriously wrong. And so I went to a holistic doctor and found it just like that. I mean, it was incredible, right? Not on top of that, she found a lot of intolerances that I didn't know I had that were also affecting my body in a very negative way, right? And then I have autoimmune conditions and so on, which I'm working with her now on. So everything you're saying, I completely 100% agree. And she also takes the same approach where it's nutrition and food based first. And let's try to get your nutrition going, and maybe some curcumin or something if you're having some inflammation or pain, as opposed to Motrin or, all these other brands, right? So I believe in what you're doing and what you're saying. And I love that you are helping women with this, what people think is a stigma, but actually is a very natural process. It's the same thing with men, right? As they start to get older and their testosterone drops, and then they don't even want to talk about it. That's not healthy, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all should be talking about these things because it's okay to talk about them. And the truth is we're getting older. Hello, unless you're dead, you're getting older, right? So, and if you're dead and listening to this, I don't know what to say, right? But the truth is, Alison, is that I love what you're doing, and I love that you're pouring into women in this way, and I love that you're doing it in a natural and a nutritional way. I think most of us have created bad habits throughout the years, and then now we're getting to the point where, at least I'll speak for myself, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm learning what that means and managing that in my life, because the second part of my life, Alison, whatever that means, needs to be better than the first part, right? And that's even with menopause. So I'm really grateful you came on today, and I'm grateful that you dropped all of this wisdom. And I know I have a lot of women who listen, so I'm sure that they're going to want to know more. So why don't you give us all of your information, how somebody can reach you, where can they go to maybe look at some of the content that you have, maybe any resources that you have for them, things like that. Please give us that information.
Well, thank you, Neena. That was what you said then was I so agree with that. It's just so true. We one thing I just must say that women, we're fabulous, and even though we're getting older, how we're amazing, and how knowledgeable we are as we get older. We've got that knowledge to give, and menopause is just a transition. Once you've gone through that, you can, there's another 30 years of your life left.
Right.
If maybe not, but that you can live up to 30 years plus. So that's a huge part of your life. So enjoy it.
Yes, enjoy it.
So you can. The best way to contact me is via my website, which is alisonbladh.com. On the website, I have a resources page where I have many wonderful downloads. We were talking about Mediterranean style diet. So Mediterranean style diet, meal plans. I've got meal plans if you want to improve your skin, get your sparkle back, as I say, which we all need a little bit of sparkle. And just easy recipe ideas that you can download that can really get you going on the nutritional or boosting your nutrition during menopause. And then I'm very active on social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and it's Alison Bladh. So that's where you can find me. So I'm quite easy to find. So, and like I say, if you want to contact me, I'm more than happy to do a free, what we call discovery call, just to really chat and see if how I can help you and help you reach your health goals.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Alison. Honestly, thank you. This was a great conversation. I love all of the tips that you gave us. And I really want to encourage all of the women who are listening that are going through this, or maybe even want to get prepared before they go through this, because you can prepare beforehand with nutrition, exercise, seeing how your mindset is. All of that can be done prior to any premenopause even coming, right, Alison?
Yeah, absolutely. The more prepared you are when you come into perimenopause, the better. You'll Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you so much for being here. And I really, really appreciate you. I know this is going to help a lot of women. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Likewise. Guys, thank you so much for listening. And you know that I always bring like these really great people on here that's going to drop a lot of knowledge. And she dropped so many things. I'm going to make sure that you have all of her information. I'm going to link it below, because like she said, you can call for a free discovery call, but she also has like recipes on there and resources for you, tools and tips, all kinds of great stuff. And you know that we love to encourage you to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all of that great stuff, because this is how we grow the community to keep impacting lives. That's what this is about. That's why Alison does what she does. That's what I do, because we want to impact your life in a positive way moving forward. So thank you guys for being here. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next time.